This is Tara Lehmann calling from Oni Press. I am the publicist, and joining with me today is Daniel Barnes and DJ Kirkland of the Black Mage, and a conversation today with Rashad Doucet and Jason Reeves of Pax Samson, the Cookout, which will be out August 4th, 2021. So you guys only have a month and a half left to get this super cute, super cool graphic novel this summer. And with that, I thought we might kick this whole thing off with a quick question of what was everyone's inspiration for your graphic novels?
Okay. Good question.
So Danny and DJ, you guys want to take this one first? And
yeah, sure. I mean, I think we wear our inspirations pretty clearly on our sleeve in the work itself, but it's very much a young adult fiction like Harry Potter and anime and fighting games are like the three things that get squashed together in it. Yeah, just everything I grew up with in the mid to late 90s that was popular with children is influenced me as a grown man in the 2020s, I guess. So yeah.
The future.
Right.
I guess for us, well, at least on my end, it was it's kind of the same things. Like, I mean, I like shonen anime as well. I like Avatar: The Last Airbender, not the other one. Like like that kind of stuff. But also, I wanted to tell a story about a kid adventure story about a little black kid who's not a sidekick in this story, who's not the peripheral best friend, who always has a nice thing to say. Is a person who's going through some things and dealing with a superheroic family. They have a legacy of being champions, and so they're not sidekicked in this, and that's fine. But they're going to be the dude that fights Thanos at the end, or the family that fights Thanos at the end. They're not going to be just waiting for somebody else to show up. And because I feel like that's not being served. Because as a kid growing up, I didn't really, I saw it, but I didn't really see like little black kids doing that. So. We were always like, when the big battle shows up, we're always sitting in the back. So it was good to see, try to create something that answered that. But at the same time, playing up all my interests. Like I like Studio Trigger. I like Steven Universe. I mean, I like all these things. And Pax deal a little bit of both. There's action, but there's also a lot of him drama and family stuff. Him trying to figure out his life. So it's not just one of those things, but all those things kind of came together for the story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like adding culturally black things to like the superhero mythos, and I always say it's kind of like a shonen with a little Tyler Perry family drama thrown in there. But yeah, we always wanted to like have ourselves as the main character in these things, and we created it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's just taking the things that we loved. I think it's just taking that and then reconciling it with realizing, hey, there's not a lot of black characters in this, or the black characters aren't the main characters. So it's not really reinventing the wheel. It's the reinvention is who the story's about, really. Honestly, it's taking all of that and being able to fulfill that fantasy of, oh man, I wish the black character was the one driving the story and saving people, and it wasn't the one like relegated to comedy relief all the time. So
yeah.
That's great, you guys. Thank you so much for that. Those are all very important things, and obviously we need to see more of them in comics and graphic novels. And I really hope that more publishers realize that this is a deficit, especially in the graphic novel world, and that we just see a wider range of people and personalities and the things that can be brought and shared in cultural experiences and just experiences in general. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. What's been your favorite thing so far about working in comics and graphic novels?
Ooh.
Oh my God. I feel like it's like a complicated question, I guess. It's interesting. Like, I remember being in college, right? Being at SCAD, like in like the process of learning to become a comics creator and kind of like romanticizing what the job itself would be once I finally got that opportunity to make something. And I think for me, honestly, just like it sounds so like, I don't know, like a basic response, but like I like the whole process, honestly. The only thing that I don't like is like the waiting. I feel like there are some instances where it's like, oh, the book is finished, but like it's gonna take at least another 6 months for that book to come out. So you're just kind of like, I can't show you anything yet because street date for the book isn't until 6 months from now. But that's like the hardest part. But everything else, minus the waiting, is great. Like there were definitely like times in which I felt like I was like, oh, like it's not coming together the way that I want it to. But like any kind of frustration that I ever had throughout the process of making comics is a frustration that I would rather have than anything else. So I'm a fan of the process. I'm a fan of just like the drawing aspect of coming up with ideas with Danny. Like we text like every day and it'll be like the middle of the night and I'll just shoot him a text like, I know he's asleep, but like he will see this at some point tomorrow with like something that I sketched up, or vice versa. Like he'll show me something that like he's like, oh, I was hit with this last night, and I'm like half asleep looking at my phone. I'm like, it's great, love it. Let's do it. So like honestly, the collaboration I think is what it ends up coming down to is my favorite part of the process.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's like a real sense of like a connection. Like I feel like all of us, we were all separate and we went to our schools and we were like, oh, there's like one or two of us. It's like, oh, there's that weird kid who always likes drawing stuff or like writing stuff or doing fan fiction all the time. And like, oh yeah, my Daniel, he likes to do stories. Like I'm just like that random kid in the family who does that. So working in this industry, all of us are just that kid now. So it's like this really like people really get you on a level that no one else does. I think a lot of the time it's like, oh, now we're all just the weird kid who doodles and comes up with random fan fictions and ideas and stuff like that. So it's really affirming in that sense. And then I think it's just connecting with random people because, again, you're usually like one of a few people where you're from who thinks in this way or creates stuff. And, you show it to your family, you show it to your friends, and they're always supportive, like, this is cool, man. But, like, the thrill is like a random person now saying, I really like the thing like you did, because now you know they actually mean it. They're not just being nice to you because they're like your mom or something. Like it's someone reaching out to you, talking to you about how something really affected them. And just those little moments like that are like my favorite part, I think.
I'm gonna pull out my old man card. Oh wait, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I like the world building is the juice for me. Like ever since I was like, knee high to a grasshopper or whatever, I would play, like me and my homies would play Legos and we do like Miami Vice with Legos, like our own stories. And, my mom used to always be like, she's like, who are you talking to in there? And I'd be like, I'm playing with my toys, but it was always centered around building these worlds and crafting these stories about the characters. So I would know what it was in the Ninja Turtles show, but I'd be like, no, what if Raphael was the leader? Or what if, all these different what ifs about characters I enjoyed. And that kind of moved in to making my own characters and building my own worlds, right? And building with Rashad. So I've always loved, taking things and flipping them on their head, or how does this part of the world work in conjunction with other parts of the world? Like I'm a sucker for continuity and world building. That's like, that's it for me right there.
I'm gonna have the least well-sounding answer that my grandma got me started drawing when I was in church and shut me up. So that's where it started. Here's some busy work. You have a big imagination. Here's some
oh my God, if my mom like saw me drawing in church, I would have been grounded. She would have rather me falling asleep in church over me drawing during church. Oh my God, I love that. It
started all there, and my grandma was a big part of Pax Samson too for that reason, because she kind of gave me that. And that was the best part of it, somebody telling me a story, because when I was a kid, my grandma would read all my bedtime stories to me, but they weren't they were just like her retelling the Hulk's origin, her retelling her takes on Spider-Man and whatever. Like she was the Hulk, like the Hulk got stuck in a giant washing machine, turned out to the Hulk. And I'll never forget it, because like, how do I explain gamma radiation to 4-year-old. So she was just like, that's what happened. And he's like, oh, so it started that somebody telling stories. And so I like telling stories. I'm addicted to the juice for me is like dissecting and crafting and how to just get all these ideas out of my head. I have a billion ideas that are constantly in my head. And I want to just get better at telling that story that connects with people, that resonates with people at every level. Like I create characters and with friends and even by myself that is just to the better understand it. So I'm always looking for the next thing that really gonna give me that storytelling juice to, you know, help me like, oh, it's kind of like what Jason was saying, like, what if I did this instead of that in that story to get this result? If I like something, even if I hate something, you know, like even if I hate it, I'm like, what can I add to Twilight to make me be more into Twilight, you know? So like that kind of stuff. Y'all don't like Team Jacob over here, whatever, to the end at least. Anyway.
It's Blade. Add Blade to Twilight.
It's weird at the end. But other than that, like, you know, I try to, you know, work in a version of things whether I like it or not. See, and that's the fun part. Like, because once I get that down, I can start zooming ahead, rather work, you know, talking to somebody about what we do next. But once that initial, like, ooh, I got the idea now, like, let's run with it kind of thing.
Yeah, the problem solving aspect of it, I think, is also really fascinating, right? I think it's like you might have like these nebulous ideas about something, but like, how do I get these two things to connect? And being able to kind of like brainstorm and come up with like that piece, that missing puzzle piece to connect those two, what could be like disparate ideas, and you find the thing that makes it make sense. It's like the dopamine. Like when that hits, it's like all things are firing up here. Like all the synapses are firing. It's big brain. So anytime that me and Danny have when we have like an aha moment, we're always like, big brain. Like always just think.
Think, Mark, think.
Oh, but, nice.
Yeah.
Prevalent meme.
Yes. Yeah, it's moments like that I think it keeps me coming back to wanting to make comics and wanting to tell stories. Is like, again, like finding that collaborator that like gets you, because that's not something that easily comes easily to people. Like I've heard horror stories from people that have been put together on a project, and they like come away from it like, I never want to work with that person again. I never wanted that to be my experience in comics, and thankfully it hasn't been. So like the fact that me and Danny were put together, I'm like, you can't take him away from me. Like, I don't think there's anybody else that gets me the way that he does. So you can't take him away.
Nice. Well, me and Rashad argue about every piece of every part of every script. So
it's helping.
Well, I hate this guy, and
throw it away. Throw it all away. Start over.
Peaceful negotiation.
Peaceful negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think like every part of I think that's why I think we do this. A lot of people, it's like I think at least for me, every part of the process is very addicting, and so it's you always just kind of chasing that chasing that high. Like it's like DJ said, when you that I was talking about the other day, like it's like when you figure something out that you're stuck on for like the longest time in the problem solving process, it's like, oh, like it's like the most like, oh my God, it's like the biggest high ever. And it's just that. And then for me, being a writer and not an artist, anytime I get new artwork, it's like, it's Christmas. It's like I get to see this thing that I was writing be visualized and become tangible. Like that's just constantly addictive, seeing that happen. And so, yeah, I think once you get a taste of that, you're hooked for life, basically.
Yeah, that's good. Like for me too, like even further down the process, like as you just mentioned, like for me, it's like another one of the big moments is like when the book is at the final. I call it the special effects version of coloring. Like when you're beyond your flats and you get to add the cool sparkles and the cool shading and the textures and the lighting, and when it finally comes in, it's not ugly anymore in your eyes. It's like when you're doing the flats, it's kind of like in flats you do at home, it's like the basic color. There's no shading, no rendering, and like when you do that, it's like and then the special effects stage, and I'm like sprinkling my Michael Bay on it, and
little Michael Bay on it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want a lot of explosions, but just a little bit, right? So you sprinkle a little bit on there,
Mhm.
Steph's kiss kind of thing, and like it just works out. You know, that's another high. It's like, oh, the page is done. Like it's done.
Absolutely. I've said it on Twitter multiple times that like I would rather play in oncoming traffic than flat my own book ever again. I paid my friend Robin to flat Black Mage for us, and if it wasn't for her, that book would not have been done on time. So because I would rather do anything else than flat a book. But once the flats came back to me and I got to kind of add the Lowrys on top, it was it really just came together. Never tasted anything like this before. Immaculate, perfect, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, show-stopping, never been done before, completely unique, very that. Like that entire moment was great. But then to get the ARC, right? Get what you send out to other people to get blurbs and all that stuff, seeing a version of the book that like you can read from start to finish is a magical experience. Like I cried when I got the ARC. And then when like we actually got the copies of the actual book, like I was a wreck. My husband took a video of it that will never appear on the internet. It was horrible. Like Studio Ghibli, but not as pretty, like a mess. Like those moments keep me coming back to the medium. And I also like the immediacy of comics. Like you can get to an end goal of comics so much quicker than like a movie or a TV show or anything like that. And like the barrier to entry is so much lower, which I think, which it also makes comics, I believe, more accessible as well. I just like being able to tell a story and be able to put it out and like people can see it and not have to wait like as long of a time as it would be like to produce a television show. Like I still want to do that. Like I still want to produce a Black Mage TV show. There's a wood table back there. I want to knock on wood. I have wood floors. Knocking on that. Like want to make a show, but like to be able to make like a physical, tangible book of this, like is like best feeling in the world.
It's a much more intimate process too, I think, also than
Absolutely.
rather than working on a movie or a TV show, because we're a team, but it's like you, me, the editor, and like the letterist and the colorist. Like when a movie and a TV show, it's a committee. It's almost like an assembly line of different ideas, and you want to still keep that collaborative spirit, but I think it becomes a lot less personal for you because it's this huge pool of people. So I really like that it's just like you, me, and a couple other people creating something, and I feel it the vision's a lot more direct and clear, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, and shout out, DJ did a good job. Shout out to Juan because he came in to help me with the flatting. Mario coming in and helping me with the flatting on Pax. The same thing. I was like, how am I gonna get this all done without Juan? Like somebody to get the labor out.
I'm telling you, man. Like flatters are undefeated. Like they are the unsung heroes of comics.
All the flatters. Y'all
like they like. Like I wanted to make sure like that in the book that the flatters were credited in the book because they were such an integral process to the book being done. Black Mage wouldn't have been out until 2020, like this year, because I would have been like dragging my feet trying to flat the book. I'm like, I would rather die than do this.
Flip Studio has some good flatting brushes. So I'm learning to understand how they keep trying to master the technology. So shout out to Flip Studio as always, as I'm always doing for making awesome programs and help me get my job done.
I simply wrote 120 characters and took a nap. I don't know what a problem is. And
I don't know what the problem is.
And then Tom and 5,000 soldiers win. All right. Make it happen.
I did it.
Listen, that double page spread happened. It got done. Like it took. I had to like mentally prepare myself. Like this is gonna take me at least a day to even get this composed in the way that I want it. It's gonna take me another day to pencil it to where like the anatomy is right and everything. Then it's gonna take me maybe half a day because I'm really fast when it comes to inking. So I'm like maybe like half a day to get it inked. But like I was like, we're gonna do this. We can get through this double page spread that has like 40 to 50 characters on the screen.
1,000 skeletons riding horses. Make it happen.
No! The Achilles heel or the horse.
And they're all wearing cowboy hats.
They're all wearing cowboy hats. In perspective. It's in perspective. And I can't.
Totally.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question. DJ, a little while ago, you mentioned the waiting between you guys finishing and then when the book actually comes out. So Rashad and Jason are in the middle of all of that waiting right now. Do you have any tips for them?
Find something to occupy your time. I suggest an MMORPG. I would highly recommend Final Fantasy 14. It's currently 60% off. So if you want to, and the free trial goes through the first expansion. So there's a lot of game there. So if you need something to do to occupy your time, I highly recommend Final Fantasy 14 or binging, I don't know, all 17 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, because that's what I did while I was making Black Mage. So but in all seriousness, honestly, what I ended up doing a lot in that time, because I had to book it to get that book finished, at the last 2 months of it. I was very fortunate enough to have a job that allowed me to step away for 3.5 weeks to finish the book. I was like, how much time can y'all give me off? Unpaid, it's fine. How much time can y'all give me off to finish this book without having to fire me and then rehire me? They're like, you can take 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna finish this graphic novel in 3 weeks, let's do it. And after that, I didn't draw anything for 6 months. So by the time the book came out was when I just started drawing stuff again. So I spent that time recharging all of my my inspiration tank. So I watched a ton of anime, watched a lot of movies, played a lot of video games, just consumed a lot of media to kind of reinvigorate the things that inspired me to want to create things in the first place. So that was a time where I bought Kingdom Hearts 3,
hey.
right before we finished the book. And then when it was done, I was like, okay, now I can play this game. Yeah. I came away from that game underwhelmed, but that's besides the point. But yeah, just take the time to just kind of recharge, relax. If you have the inspiration to come up with new ideas for another thing, absolutely do that. But I know that I was completely just deflated after I finished the book.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I'm in a huge gap of creativity, usually that's when I find myself knocking out a huge piece of One Piece. That's usually when I take a huge chunk of that out, because that's how I don't just do it constantly at a time. It's I'm gonna knock out I watched the show and I'm gonna start reading it soon. So I'm all right, I'm gonna watch 400 episodes and then I'll watch some more later, and then I'll wait a year and watch 300 or 400 more. It's how I've been doing it. So that's always out. Yeah, One Piece is always just this crazy.
Yeah, it's long.
So it's a really it's a really great source of inspiration too, because especially when you read some of it and you look at it, it's how did he do this? This is crazy.
How?
This long and still be energetic and not
his mind
halfway.
Yeah, that series has been around 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Little longer.
A little longer than that. Yeah, out of control. I can't even. Yeah.
Well,
oh my god.
I took, after finishing drawing, I took a month off, but I really, I can't sit still. So once again, drawing in church to keep me quiet. So I just draw something else.
Yeah.
So my book, Jeremiah Justice 2, will be done in the summer. So that'll be out right after this comes out, hopefully by the end of the year. So I just jump into the next thing because that's just, I don't know how to sit still. I can't.
I never have nothing to do. I don't see how y'all watch blocks of shows or whatever, because I'm always doing something. If I'm not drawing something or writing something or editing something or telling somebody what to color or what to do, good Lord. There's comics everywhere around here. Behind me, I'm cutting them, I'm printing them, I'm doing all of them. So I never not.
That's we gotta preface that with Jason.
Oh yeah. So 133 Art is a printing, publishing, distribution company as well. So we're doing all kinds of different comics and and shipping them places and Kickstarter fulfillments and stuff. So there's never nothing to do.
Although I did binge Sailor Moon, and I got to almost during this break, I got beyond. I never really took time to pay attention. I got to the early stuff. I never got to like some later, the secondary. The later. I'm loving it. Like Sailor Uranus is now my favorite beyond any shadow.
She's the best. She's the best. I mean,
the new movies came out. I'm almost done with both of those. I think the first one or whatever, the first half, and now I want to watch that. So that was helpful because that show always inspires me. Yeah. Especially the '90s one, the original one. Like
absolutely.
It's just so beautiful, and the outfits, like the amount of work, like seeing other people work hard. I guess in the past, like also when you're trying to like lower the energy from that break of putting so much of yourself into a project. Yeah. So graphic now is a huge project, so you do need, I don't want people out there, kids or young people thinking, or anybody thinking like, oh no, I just started drawing. No, I mean you do need to recharge, like like you got to really take time to yourself because graphic novels is a lot different than 20 pages, but Sailor Moon is just tons of Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I was literally just on a roundtable panel discussion about the movies yesterday, and we were talking about just like the amount of like love that went into like specifically like the 90s version of that show, and considering that this was like the early 90s, like that show debuted in like 1992, I believe, in Japan, and the like it just goes to show with that show specifically. I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible. Which is hard for me when it comes to the show. What is really remarkable to me about that show specifically is the time in which that show came out, and it just goes to show that like when you have the right team of people to put something together, regardless of how big or small the budget is, you can make something incredibly special that stands the test of time. Like that show was made in the early to mid 90s and is still so revered and loved today. Like the art, everything the art holds up, everything about it holds up. It's a source of inspiration for all of us and so many people that are in comics and animation today and in games. Like that show has such a huge impact on people, the manga as well. And it's just really cool to see like that someone can create something that has a lasting effect that can transcend generations. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, and I feel like how relevant it is. Like watching the Golden Girls, another plug. But it's like watching the Golden Girls, like it's
so funny. It's never not funny. It is so funny.
Such a like you said, when the amount of right people get together and just create this thing that anybody can relate to. It's just
timeless.
Sailor Moon specifically is like really wild because like you see all these like you see a bunch of modern like magical girl stuff, and you see stuff like where they're like Madoka Magica, where it's like, oh, it's a deconstruction of the magical girl genre. And then like I watched Sailor Moon and I'm like, Sailor Moon did all of this already. They did it perfectly the first time. Like literally, there's nothing to deconstruct or re-examine. They literally did everything, and they did it really well. Like it examines itself in its own show. Like there's nothing to do.
Like you didn't see. It's like when I hear that, it's like you didn't watch season 3, which was directed by Ikuhara, and I'm like, Ikuhara goes places, and that. It's my favorite season. It's my favorite arc of the anime and of the manga as well. Like, S is my absolute favorite. It's so good. Like, oh my god. And Ikuko Ito, oh my god. I have to stop.
I brought up Sailor Moon and it just ends everything. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Geeking out about anime.
It's one of those things that when somebody like opens the door, right? It's like I'll start talking about it and I just like black out. Like, and then I'm like, what were we talking about? Oh, my favorite thing in the world. Sorry.
Now, let me tell you a story about a little blue hedgehog.
Yeah, that's Daniel's thing, right? Like
it always comes back to Sonic.
It does. It always circles back. Like it's 6 degrees to Sonic. Like it all comes back.
Always comes back to Sonic. Sorry, Jeff. Trying to have a respectable conversation.
Oh my God. Sonic Sailor Moon panel now.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Got it. Hijacked.
Hey, I gave you guys free reign where this conversation was ever going to go. So if it's a Sailor Moon Sonic panel, all right.
You do have all comics, y'all.
I
Sorry.
mean, honestly, Sonic was also very formative. Very,
the
very
Comic-Con
formative.
pamphlet is just like inspiration discussion with Black Mage and Pax Samson creators, and then in bold text, like, it's just Sailor Moon and Sonic on there.
Oh goodness. Oh, I love this so much. Actually, this kind of feeds into another question that I have for you guys. So clearly, like Tom and Pax both have special abilities, you know, individual and in the collective, like Tom and his friends and Pax and his family. But like, if you could do a mashup of your books with anything in the world, not Sailor Moon and Sonic, you have to branch out.
Okay.
What would it be? I see that look, Danny.
A mashup. So like any other book out there.
Anything. Sky's the limit. Go for it.
Hmm.
Ooh.
What'd you say, Jason?
I said that's interesting. Who would we pair Pax with? Like
this to do a weird mashup. I feel like I'm gonna go wild. And I'm gonna use DJ shirt as inspiration. Evangelion Pax. Pax gets a little.
Oh wow.
That would be a wild one. Like that one was like, it's like what family was all bad.
Get in the Mecca.
Grandma,
Man, can we do Gurren Lagann? Can we cross over with, you know what I'm saying? Like, can we
still positive shit? He's still gonna save the world. You know?
let's get Simon in there. Let's get Simon in.
We love a sad existential crisis about robots. We love it. We love that.
Just keep it wild, you know.
Yeah.
Something cool, not my story.
It gets people amped.
I'm pairing Pax with Simon. I'm pairing Pax with Simon. We're doing Gurren. Lagann.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I think, for me, I think it would have to be Black Mage in the Boondocks. I feel like that's perfect.
Oh
I like
God.
to see Huey and Riley go to magic school and become friends with Tom, and they're like teenagers. I feel like that's perfect.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. I would die. That would be incredible.
It's like the Little Rock Nine, but they're all wizards, and it's like Tom and like the cast of the Boondocks going to magic school.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That'd be awesome. I feel like that could actually happen. Let's make that happen. Put out the ether. That is a thing that can happen.
Yes.
Put that energy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just really want someone to commission this in a piece of art right now.
Right.
I love it.
That's a good one. I think if I had a second choice, since Jason shot down my first choice, if I had a second choice, let's keep it more in tune. Final Fantasy VII. Then how about Final Fantasy VII? You know, but let's team.
I can live with that one. I can live with that.
All right, there we go. Final Fantasy. We do argue about everything. This is a thing. This is a thing. You ain't like that. That's bad.
But it's a healthy relationship. It's a totally healthy relationship.
They fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
What are you talking about? No. All right, Final Fantasy. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pax wouldn't do well in the Evangelion universe. Like he'd go crazy. Like I mean, how much?
Of it.
It's funny that you mentioned Evangelion because like Danny and I were having a conversation kind of related to that in Black Mage. We were talking about something and I was like, oh, I want to model this character kind of like after Shinji Ikari. And he was like, I don't know, Shinji's kind of a dweeb. And I'm like, he's also a dweeb in the plug suit. Like, it's fine. Shinji is just a dweeb. So, like,
looks good.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, it's
like, why Shinji looks like a Mormon?
You're not wrong.
Getting the robot Mormon kid who cries all the time. I'm just saying, like, they do a good job of designing him to look like a BB. Gets on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I think that conversations like this where we kind of like push and pull against each other are what makes for really good, healthy, collaborative relationships. Like, I wouldn't want to be in like a collaborative setting with someone that was just like, yeah, okay,
let's do it.
Like, yep, no, just go ahead and do it. Like, for the most part, Danny and I like agree on like 99% of everything that we do together. But then we'll go back and forth on like, it usually comes down to like design stuff, which
it's minutia. Man, it's like
it's like the smallest things, and we're like, okay, fine, we'll come together and change the color of this and make it that instead. But I wouldn't want to be in a situation with someone that just like doesn't challenge my own like thought process or ideas, or like isn't there to kind of push me to want to do things that are better. Like even in the scripting, like Danny was very, very conscious about like what my strengths are as an artist, things that I enjoy drawing, which we kind of structured the story, like a lot of the story I felt like was just playing to my strengths from start to finish. But he also like pushed me to draw things that like I never really drew before, and like to try and attempt different things that like I didn't think that I could do prior to that book. But now I'm like, oh yeah, like I can do this. This is easy. So yeah, I would never want to be in a collaborative environment where I'm not challenged at some part of it.
Yeah, and it's like really easy for us because we speak the same language. Like again, we like all the same stuff. So it's like I can go, you should make it look like that one shot from like Gurren Lagann, and he already knows what I'm talking about.
Kind of like, oh yeah, yep.
We've already both seen it. So it's
like,
take this and then make him look like that one character from like Marvel vs. Capcom at the end, and do that. And
you guys are the ideal. I'm falling in love with y'all right now. Like y'all are so cute together. like Rashad and I are like, no.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, but like
he's like,
but I think that's
like,
necessary.
I'm not drawing that. I'm like, you better draw it.
that's what really comes down to. Like, that's a lot of detail. You know, I got to do two things. How can we do this scene without that part?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, it's passionate. It's very it's a very passionate collaborative relationship,
which is good. I think it's necessary.
Well, Jason, we have watching all this. Let's go. Let's get down to minutia. Let's look at a couple of things. Like, yeah. It's like that shot in, and then leave me alone. You know, like let me run away with it.
Thank you for being.
I'm gonna start taking into account your strengths and your weaknesses and stuff. You know, like I'm gonna be like,
why isn't one of your strengths drawing well? Like what? Starts getting all violent and stuff. How about one of your strengths is be good?
Yeah, it's like let's go over your strengths and weaknesses. How about weaknesses? All of it.
Weaknesses. We'll be here all day. How about
that? How much time do you have?
Oh no.
It's crazy. When we started collaborating on Pax, I would like exercise in the morning and I would walk around the park close to my house for a couple hours, and I would call Rashad, and we would be going back and forth over stories and plots and whatever. And my wife would always say, man, those people just see you guys arguing and cussing each other. And he said, I wonder what those people think of y'all. And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't even see them. I'm just like thinking of Pax. I'm just like in Pax mode, walking around the park. And I'm like, no, we need to do this. No, you don't understand. And he's on the other side doing the same thing.
I think it works well for us because I'm naturally... Okay, so I think big picture and like gist of it. I don't always remember details super well. I remember details once we decide on what to do. But like Jason is like a world builder, like he said, right? So like he's gonna think about like the city a little bit more, how it connects to the history and how that ties in.
Try to be meticulous.
Yeah, and I like to be, and I think that's different. And I'm just like, what's the fastest, funnest way to do this? What has the gist of it? I'm always like, what's the gist of it? You know, like
get to the point.
This you get that right? Like, yeah, good. Let's go to the next page.
I think too. I'm joking. Like the contention is not as rough or as crazy. It's mostly I'm mostly joking, but I mean we've known each other for like 25 years too. So it's like it's a little easier for us to get on a run and and just know what the other one is talking about, like, so we can argue and not like blow up because I know what you like, you know what I like, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
We're friends, and like we're friends from way back. So
You seem like the left and the right side of a brain
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
it seems
That's
like.
kind of
Yeah.
what it is. That's exactly it. Like,
DJ and I are single brain cells apiece to make two brain cells.
I have one functioning brain cell. Danny has one functioning brain cell, and with
Together-
our two brain cells combined,
Together, it's like 7 brain cells or something,
yeah,
right?
it's yeah. So
right.
yeah, so like I think for us, we both like the world building aspect of it because we're like, oh, what if we do this, and what if it's about this, and like about this. So like we definitely like have those ideas, and sometimes I think we're like so deep into it, we're like, oh, we should like get to it.
Right.
Like I think we went over like inspiration for like school uniform designs for like 2 weeks of that alone. Like, because I'm like, I like drawing like anime school uniforms because I grew up watching all these anime about kids in school. So like, let's design a cool uniform for them. And we just kept going back and forth about it. But yeah, I think we have 2 functioning brain cells between the 2 of us, and it somehow managed to make a book. So I guess it worked.
With our brain cell combined, Earth.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever makes it work, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Clearly something is working on both the teams here.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys have it down pat.
Yes.
So we really only have a few minutes left, and I don't want to like cut anything off because I'm having way too much fun. I don't know about you guys. This is the best thing I've had going on this morning so far. But just kind of want to like get an idea. What do you guys got going on right now? Anything new? Anything fun that you can talk about?
I'll go first. Like I said earlier, my children's book series, Jeremiah Justice. We are working on the second one. That one's deals with special needs kids. He has a superpower. So other than that, he has a tracheostomy tube and he shoots wind out of it, and that's the first one. And the second one, we have a new character introduced that also have their own thing going on. And so that's going to be great. I get to work with a nurse who worked with these kids for so long, and like she has a great insight. It's her thing. Melissa Miles is her thing. There's a Superhero Success Foundation that she started, kind of like a charity thing to help benefit to the proceeds of the book. A good percentage of it goes towards that. And so it's good. And she kind of did Kickstarters to get it off the ground, but like it's working, and like it's really fun working with her because she has such great insight. As we're doing all these kids' books, it's great to work with people who worked with kids for a long time in a lot of different ways, like the age group that we're actually making content for. Even though it's a little bit younger for Jeremiah Justice, it's still the same kind of thing. And it's just great to see, work with somebody. Melissa's great to work with. And it's just awesome to have that insight from her from the years of doing that, decades of doing that. So good. So I'm working on that for the most part and getting that hopefully wrapped up before PAX comes out. Yeah.
We recently our newest drop from 133 Art at 133art.com is a comic called One Nation Stronghold. Ooh. And it's an offshoot of our main series, One Nation, and it's about a character named Damian Strong, aka Stronghold, and he's an LGBTQ, like our first LGBTQ character, kind of spotlighted in his own series, dealing with problems of his past and dealing with like superhero stuff and a changing world where like the superhumans in his world are called Karamats, and they're starting to multiply across the world, and everybody's discovering these people with abilities. So that's what we've been working on recently.
You and who else? Who you and?
Oh, me, Greg Anderson, Lise is on the writing. Carlos Lopez is on the colors, and Antonello Cosentino is on the line work. So that's the team.
Yeah, DJ and I are developing Black Mage 2 right now. That's been our ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Just slowly working on that, developing that, getting that figured out.
Yeah.
And then I have another personal project I'm doing that I don't think I can really talk about completely yet, but I'm working with a nonprofit organization on it, and that'll be cool. And I'll hopefully be able to announce that in the next couple of months. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, the concept that we came up with for Black Mage 2, I think, is going to be really cool. We kind of had like a breakthrough moment a couple weeks ago, which I think kind of changed the course from where we were originally going with book 2. But I think it's going to go to a better place, and I think it's something that we're both really, really excited about. So we can't go into too much detail about it right now, but it's going to be really cool. I'm super juiced about it. We're working on design stuff right now and just getting ideas out. So that's coming. I have a project that is unannounced that's coming soon. So it's in the very early phases of development for that. But I think I can at the very least say that it's in like collaboration and association with the Smithsonian Museum, which is really cool. So I never thought that I would be getting into this like lane of like doing comics that are like edutainment kind of stuff, right? Like I never thought that, but like I actually really love that space because I think there's a lot of room to play and do different things there. And I'm also working on a more like an adult like queer romance story, and that's like about like my own like queer experiences. It's not an autobiographical comic, but it's definitely based on like true events in my own life about just like queer men of color like existing and being messy and dramatic like 30 somethings, because you get a lot of like queer graphic novels like around like high school age kids, but like nothing about like messy adults. So I want to make like messy romantic queer adult stories, so like that's what I'm working on as well, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's everything that I'm working on currently.
That sounds amazing, you guys. Oh my god. You guys are so busy. How do you do it? I don't even know. I feel like I've accomplished a lot if I've put coffee in my cup in the morning.
Absolutely. If I wake up in the morning and like actually like brush my hair and like do something to it, like I think I've succeeded for the day. And in this year and a half-ish almost of being in a pandemic, or what I'd like to call a personal pan pizza, panini, whatever kind of like words you want to associate with that.
Penicillin.
The penicillin, the parallelogram, all
propaganda.
of that. Yes, all of that. There are some days where I'm like, I just want to put on like actual clothes just to feel something. So, you know, I think any goal, if you can at least get coffee in the cup, if you know, groom yourself to hop on your Zoom call for work, like I think that you've made it.
I'm glad it seems like I'm doing a lot, because it feels like a year and a half passed, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. What the hell's going on? Oh no!
Yeah, exactly.
What's happened?
One very long blink.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you know, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This has been fantastic.
And thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
I love hearing everything about Pax and about Black Mage. Like, this has been fantastic. So yeah, we are going to call it right now, but thank you again, you know, Rashad and Jason and DJ and Danny. Appreciate your time. And you can catch them at San Diego Comic-Con in July. And stay tuned for, I guess, more fun topics on Sonic and Sailor Moon.
Always.
Always.
Anytime. Just like, if you ask me on Twitter, what are your thoughts on the Sailor Moon Eternal movies? I'm like, I will ask you, how much time do you have?
Oh.
So,
Simply say the letter S around either of us.
yeah, we're like,
there you
I'm like,
see what happens. Sonic? Sailor
Moon?
Sailor.
What?
What was that? All right.
Oh, thank you guys. I will set you free for the rest of your days. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.